promised Caroline we're not going to talk about piece she created for Diana because it's better to see once than to speak half an hour. It's impossible to tell all the story because everybody will see tonight and everybody will leave the house with their own something that will touch them personally. But there is something special when we started with Caroline in Paris and in her Atelier de Paris. And when we came with Diana for the first rehearsal day, we've been very much surprised. It was actually not a rehearsal to move, it was a rehearsal to speak. And I would like to ask Carolyn if you can tell us a little bit from where the inspiration of creating this solo piece for Diana came and how we selected music, because we selected music all together, and in the end, of course, Carolyn decided what should stay in the piece, what should be cut.
Well, I don't call my work dance, I call it visual poetry. For me, I always work on a poetic base. Let's see, I've written 4 books of poetry, and I do calligraphy, so which all serves for my work. And so it was very interesting, the process, because when I met Diana, I was very impressed, especially in her Russian background. And I first said I was going to do a solo for her, and she said, with who? Which I thought was very interesting. Because she's on stage with many people, but this is really the first time she has a solo. The piece is 35 minutes. And so the base of this work comes, first of all, it was based on Virginia Woolf, A Room of One's Own. I love Virginia Woolf and her writings, also a great writer and poet. And then I've always been very impressed by the filmmaker Tarkovsky, who I followed over the years. And so I have a very wonderful book of Tarkovsky's father was writing the poetry for his films. So I chose one specific poem for this work for Diana. And it was very nice for her because it's English and Russian. So I must say, Diana was very enthusiastic about this idea of Tarkovsky and his poetry. Is the poem in the program?
Poem in the program?
You promised.
Can read in the program.
Okay. Okay.
If you will hear Diana's voice during the performance, don't be surprised. It's
yes,
part of it.
And also we recorded Diana's voice because I wanted her to speak just very short phrases of the poem. And it's not like Diana's not an actress, but I use the voice as I'm speaking now. It's a woman who's reading the poem to herself or to someone. And the music is by Giovanni Sollima, who's an Italian composer from Palermo, who's a cello player. And he would like to have played live, but at the moment he's performing at Carnegie Hall. And the last work is by René Aubry, who was one of the reasons I stayed in France. And I've done 20 creations with him. And so that's the last work, which is another side of Diana, which you'll see in the performance.
Carl, this is your first experience working with a Russian dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about how it was?
Morning. Class, improvisation, and technique, we worked till 6, with a half-hour break in between. And Diana was always a disponible, not speaking French. She was always very willing to work, but it gets to 3:34. She said she wants to go home. And I said, I'm not finished yet. We're working till 6. So this was rather new for me, but I respect Diana's way of working because, I don't speak a lot, but we talk about the poetry of a gesture. I mean, every gesture has a poetic perception behind this. So it was very interesting. I had to be prepared exactly when she starts at 12 o'clock with the choreography to be finished by 4. And, but it was absolutely wonderful to work with her. She's a very questioning dancer, which I like very much. She said, why are you using this? Why did you choose to do this? Why is the costume this color? And I appreciate her her questions and her enthusiasm in the work. And I must say it's very interesting. That there were 2 times with the music, she said, I don't think the voice should exactly go in this place. I have an idea. And I said, fantastic. So Deanna also participated in the creation of this work. And I'm a choreographer who likes to work with people. The process was interesting because I wanted to know who Deanna is. So I'm pulling out her spirit and her perceptions. So it's not only about me, it's about her feedback in terms of the work.
Carolyn, how long you artistic director of the Centre National Choreographique in Roubaix?
Well, this is my 9th year at the Centre Choreographique National de Roubaix. And it's a great center. We have a wonderful theater, and I have a great technical crew. We have costumes, I have 2 studios, a great staff. There's about 60 people working for us, but I work with 10 very close. And this, I will end this year at Centre Choreographique, and I have really a blessing. I will be now in residence at Théâtre in Paris. So I have been blessed all my life to have these wonderful opportunities. From Paris Opera to the Théâtre La Fenice, the Helsinki Opera, Théâtre Ville in Paris, and now Chaillot.
In France, in fact, there is 19 national choreographic centers supported by government, which is very unusual. And the process transition of Carolyn from Centre in Roubaix to Théâtre Chaillot as an artist in residency, it's a normal process, and nobody's fighting, nobody's screaming why I'm fired. Nobody's fired. It's a natural process when other choreographers come to take company and to continue his research in the choreography and his own experience. So the choreographers, they move from one center to another center and never really worried about the support that they need to get from government, because support is always there, even the national budget is sometimes cut due to some economical difficulties. But in France, particularly, it's really important that the government supporting young choreographers, the inspiring young choreographers to work with dancers. And so even now, when Carolyn will move to Chaillot, she has a budget, and here we have our also special guest, the president of the new company that Carolyn will work with in Chaillot.
Bernard
Ferrer.
He is one of the most important people in France. He has been at the festival Avignon, and he's the big guy. He's my next president, so here he came from France.
Yeah, and we're really glad to see Bernard here and to see another part of the experience in the career of Carolyn.
No, I must say too, France is one of the most leading countries in Europe to support the arts. And I think it's amazing here, all the private sponsors that have built this incredible center. I mean, this is amazing. But in Europe, most of the money comes from the Minister of Culture and other co-productions with other theaters. And we also have co-productions with Spain and Italy. Well, Italy very much now. And even though there's a crisis there, France is incredible for this, so it's another blessing, for sure.
So I spoke about this because we don't have a Minister of the Culture, as you know, in the United States. So
are you asking for money?
Our ministers are you, our spectators who supporting to have, in fact, the dance alive here at the center and in the United States in general. So do you have any questions for Carolyn? So maybe we should speak a little bit about the second piece in the show. Even this piece created by other choreographers, but the choice of Jean-Christophe Maillot-Lin made for the reason, as you know, the last season, Ballet Monte Carlo, where Jean-Christophe is artistic director and the director of the company, performed here at the Service Center with full-length production of Cinderella. And as you know, the company coming back this season. In March, you'll be able to see his version of Swan Lake, his vision of Swan Lake, the production called Slack, which is in French, lake, after Swan Lake. So we all hoping you will be able to come to see it and enjoy. But tonight it will be another world premiere of his piece, specially created for Diana Vishneva, with two other dancers of Ballet Monte Carlo, Venice Biennale and Gaetan Marlotti. The wonderful thing about this project that we have all creators who live with us today. Carolyn Carlson, Giovanni Salima, René Aubry, composers. We have Danny Elfman, another Californian great artist, for whom also tonight will be world premiere of two pieces that never been performed publicly. Those two pieces, last two pieces in the first act, and Jean-Christophe Maillot and set designer Alain Lagarde. It's really wonderful because sometimes we're working with something that it's already in the history, but you and we all together glad to create this history today and to enjoy watching the performance and talking about it. So if you don't have any questions, so we would like to, yes?
How long a process is it, the creative process, from beginning to end, and then as you see the performance on stage, you make changes?
Oh yes, I must say, we had 10 days in Paris. I have a wonderful studio in the woods there. And then we had 10 days in Roubaix, in the north of France. Then I was touring with my company, and I came here, 8 days ago, 9 days ago. And I came with music not finished yet, and the video not all together. So we had a very, not stressful, but a very intense working time here, because I still had last minute changes. And I must say, the technique and the crew have been wonderful in the center. And so I'm a person who works up until the last minute, which Deanna looks at me and she says, no, don't change, don't do anything, because I perfect everything. And just today I gave another note for a little small change. So she can't wait till I go home. So, you know, my process is always continuing. And so pretty much the real creation was done here, the final version. Because this is the first time we've had the stage. And the lights were done here, the original lights, and the decor was built here. So this is really the creation here in this theater.
This is about the second part, the Carolyn Carlson's piece. But speaking about the whole program, as you know, this is second production at Segerstrom Center and the company. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm sorry. My name is Sergei Danilian. I'm with Artanya.
He's a great impresario.
We're co-producers with Segerstrom Center for many very interesting, very innovative dance projects. And Diana Vishneva's Underage. This is our second co-production for specially created for Diana. All 5 choreographic works being created here at the Segerstrom Center. In 2008 was Beauty in Motion, if you remember, and in 2013 we have On the Age. So even when we started with Diana discussing the choreographers for 2008 production of Beauty in Motion, Jean-Christophe Maillot was in our list, but unfortunately he was busy. Last year, after company debuted here at the Segerstrom Center, I tried one more time to ask him maybe he will be interested, because he knows Diana pretty long time, since she was very, very young student of Maganova Academy. She attended the Prix de Lausanne competition for students, and she won. And he was the chairman of the jury, and he believed even at that time that Diana has a very good future, and that's what happened after, you probably know, who's familiar with her career. So, but the condition was Diana should come to Monte Carlo, and they need to try. If they will try and they will have something common and understanding, of course, then they can continue. That's happened in June 2012. So, and then Jean-Christophe said, yes, we will do it. And in June 2013 already, we spent 2 weeks in Monte Carlo with Jean-Christophe, and by middle of July, the 18 minutes of the piece was already choreographed. at least Jean-Christophe was ready for the music. He knew how long it will be, and we started talking about the set and costumes. Then we returned to Monte Carlo in September for another week of rehearsals. Then we went to Moscow for another week of rehearsals. And last week we spent here to finalize everything. And as Carolyn said, same process was with first act with Jean-Christophe's piece. We even had a day Elfman to come to Söderström Center for the sound check to make sure that the music sounds correct and fit on the concept of the choreography. To create a project like that, we usually spend with center a couple of years to selecting, not only selecting choreographers, but making sure that the artists feel comfortable and the choreographers, all creators who's involved, feel comfortable working together. And I'm really glad to have such an opportunity to finish all our previous project here at the center, to finalize all things and to bring to your attention the product nicely packed, almost at Salesforce Plaza. Is there any more questions?
I just wondered how long has Diane been with this group?
So, in fact, this is Diana's anniversary with Söderström Center in the relationship. She performed here first time in 2003 with Mariinsky Theater, being principal dancer with Mariinsky Theater. Since then, she was here with Mariinsky in 2006 and 2008. And in 2008, she was with Beauty in Motion, and then now with, I mean, this is her 8th appearance here in 10 years. So, and she's really hard worker. You will see tonight, it's such a, not just a physical pressure, it's psychological pressure too, because both pieces, it's a story that woman tells, artist tells us about herself, her relationship with art she chooses, art form she chooses for her career with dance. And I'm really hoping that you will enjoy it. Thank you very much. Enjoy the show.
Thank you.